Wednesday, May 1st, 2019. Review of work session discussion meeting minutes.
I didn't have it.
We already approved these. Were these ones on there?
Not the 24th.
No.
Not the 20.
You're talking about the
Yeah.
17th we approved.
Yeah, 17th we approved, 24th. 24th. Department head report. We'll move on to the department head report. Yes.
I'd like an executive session to discuss the collective bargaining agreement with the detectives, if that's possible.
All right.
Tim's raising his hand.
Sorry, Tim, I was right.
That's all right, okay.
Go ahead, Tim.
You're good. Just some updates. Every day was a nice event. We had about 200 people show up for it. Weather cooperated with us, so again, that was done. Thank you for the proclamation for the upcoming National Tourism Week. Still working on the full interview of a manager candidate last night, and hopefully we'll have that nailed down here in the next 24 hours or so. So that's where we're at with that. And you might have got in your inbox this morning, we have the first tourism newsletter that went out. So look for that in your email. I had your emails added to it, so you saw that it was coming out. It's basically event oriented, and people subscribe to that through our webpage. So basically, the first of each month, we're going to be doing that from an event standpoint, just highlighting what's going on for that month in our area on air inspection. Something like that.
Thank you. Eric?
I just have Eric for Director of Emergency Services. Our annual siren test will be next Tuesday with rain dates of Wednesday. I have the flyer there, 7 days. So this is federally required from the NRC that we do this, and they're going to be putting people out in the field to check if the siren's going off, decibel levels, and things like that. Not just in our county, but Hancock County, West Virginia, Columbia County, Ohio. We'll precede that by a call to the individuals about 30 to 45 minutes prior to that, saying, hey, the siren's going to go off. First Energy put the ads in the local newspapers and radio stations. We'll also put it on our social media, so hopefully everybody is aware of it. In years past, we've had hundreds of 911 calls come in, but lately, the last few years, just because of the social media and getting the word out, those calls have decreased.
What time that day, Eric? Is it
9.
9.
Hey, does that vary? It was in
Well,
the evening one, I remember.
It was in the evening, yeah. So this year is different because the company is coming in to evaluate. There's a company coming in to evaluate the sirens to see if they need to add more or take away. They can take away. This is a 10-mile EPZ, emergency landing zone, from the Beaver Valley Power Station. So this is the first kind of at this time because for whatever reason, this is the time that the company we didn't do.
Now, do you send out those texts? Is that
Yeah,
what
we'll
you
send
said?
that out about
Okay.
half hour, 45 minutes prior.
Okay.
to.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. Any questions for Eric?
sorry.
I sent, Davina.
Oh, there are extra copies back there also. And I'll try to get this out to our media blast. I'll send this out for you.
Any other department head reports? Hearing none? Solicitor's report.
So to update everyone on the IRS issue, Corey, our financial administrator, has been working with payroll to find out exactly what needs to be filed with the IRS. He has been working on that over the last couple days. And then it's really a two-part issue at this point. One, what needs to be filed, which we're starting to pin down. And then issue number 2 is what can we do to file an appeal of the current fines and penalties that we've been assessed. We've been giving a number for a government contact with the IRS because we haven't had much terrible success trying to reach the IRS, finding information on both what needs to be filed, though we have pretty much found that, and also what process we need to go about filing the appeal. The IRS has recommended that we work through our local representative, Clonder Land's office, in order to sort of use them as a liaison between the IRS and them for this appeals process. So we're going to do that, and we will update accordingly once we get more information on it. But at this point, that's basically where we're at. We're going to file the appeal, we're working through the process of figuring out what we need to do for that. And then Corey is working with payroll to file the necessary forms and the corrected forms that the IRS has been looking for and has been requesting. So any questions regarding that issue before I move on to some of the other stuff? I don't know if the public has any questions if they wanted to.
Yes. Is it likely that we will owe money that is not covered in the budget? That what was it, 400,000?
It's 378,000 is what the lien is right now.
And we do owe something.
I wouldn't say that. The vast majority of that figure, what we tentatively believe is penalties. And whenever I say the vast majority, I'm thinking almost the entire thing. So if we can successfully file this appeal, we may not owe anything whenever it's all said and done.
Any public input desired? Write a letter? Do you want me to do anything to help?
We will keep you posted.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. If you want to sit on hold for us sometime, we've been on hold multiple times for over 40 minutes.
Yeah, and then disconnected and then call back and start all over.
It's been a little bit frustrating in that aspect, but we're working through it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, of course, it was discovered last week that this was the case, and then that there was a bit of a miscommunication as to what led to this. So my question is the county or the offices doing anything for the future that could prevent something like this from happening again?
yeah, that's one of the things that we are working towards to make sure that this doesn't happen, as far as putting a system in place where there's sort of a two-part system that one person verifies that these forms are in fact being filed correctly. So yeah, that is part of our internal process to make sure that we put a corrective action in place that this won't happen again.
Okay.
Is there any intention to hire a second person to work on the deal since the first one was terminated?
I believe there is, yeah.
It has been published.
Okay.
Right, Sid?
Yeah.
Any,
Just because it was a bit confusing when I read the article about it, why does it go through the Prothonotari's office? Is that?
That's where.
Not the controller's office, but it goes through the Prothonotary?
that's where the lien was filed at. So all liens are filed in the Prothonotari's office. So that's why it ended up in the Prothonotari's office, because whenever there's a lien filed, that's where it's filed at, not the controller's office.
But the prior letters, weren't there prior letters that came before the
2
lien?
years worth.
Well, there were definitely letters that came before as far as what was given to the controller and what wasn't. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know the actual lien
Letters
itself.
were addressed to the payroll.
All letters were addressed
Not
to
to
the,
the
correct. All letters were addressed to the payroll office itself. That's why none of us knew anything about it. The lien itself was filed with the Prothonotari's office because that's where it, by law, has to be filed. But as far as what information was given to the controller prior to that, I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Back to Matt's question, internally what we're going to try and do with the IRS is not only have someone check the work that it's being sent out or double check, make sure, but also have, if there's any kind of notifications, whether it's just a quarterly tax notification, it will be hopefully sent to 2 different offices, one the payroll, and another, whether it's the commissioners or the controllers or wherever it needs to be, but that's something guaranteed.
Correct, yeah. One of the things we are requesting from the IRS is moving forward that if any letter is sent to payroll, that it also be sent to some other department in the courthouse, so that way this same thing can't potentially happen again. Anyone else? Okay, other odds and ends stuff. The Brush Creek meeting, we're still trying to work on coordinating a date. We're looking at maybe sometime end of next week, beginning of the following week, as far as meeting with Franklin and North Swickley with them.
That will be out there, we think?
That will be out at Brush Creek, correct. They had some issues that they wanted to address with the county, my office, Dan, and the sheriff's office are all going to plan on attending that meeting to discuss with them once we can pin down an actual date. The deed beside the EMS building, there was that vacant lot. We have now since got that deed recorded as of yesterday. So that is currently county property. I spoke with Eric about it. I think the long-term plan for that is for them to build a garage or extend their garage into that particular lot that will enable them to store more equipment and vehicles on their site. The energy conservation project is, the request for qualifications are due on May 13th. They had the walking tour last week. There were about 7 or 8 different companies that came in to do that walking tour.
Dan, you do the tour? Did you do the tour?
Yes, I was involved with it. And, the folks that are on my staff that are more familiar with the, I sent those guys with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see what qualifications we get. Like I said, they're due May 13th. And then once we get those qualifications, we can then decide if we want to interview people or how we want to move forward with it.
And that encompasses all the county office or buildings?
It does right now. We can narrow that down if we
Okay.
want to. Whenever we ultimately we choose to put it out to do a contract, we don't necessarily have to encompass every single building if we don't want to. And then the final issue I have for the public portion of the meeting is our salary board is currently scheduled for next week work session. And then the 21st is the actual date, which is the date of the election. I spoke with HR prior to this. The only thing currently on the agenda right now is pre-approved items. So we can either reschedule the actual voting meeting. The problem is on the 28th, which is the following Tuesday, we currently have a pension board meeting. Or we can just cancel it to the July meeting. Like I said, there's nothing on the agenda right now aside from pre-approved items.
Can we do it? Oh, okay. July, or if we do it in May, can we do it at 9:30? It's going to take.
Yeah, I mean,
10 minutes.
if you wanted to do the meeting prior to or even after the pension board meeting,
Probably prior to, just because you never know how long the pension board would go.
What date did you say?
the 28th. So it's currently scheduled for the 21st. The work session is next Tuesday. The voting meeting is scheduled for the 21st. We could bump it to the 28th at 9:30.
I think that would be best. That's what I would.
21st?
28.
28th, I have WIB board meeting,
Okay.
and we all have CED meeting and retirement plan.
It's a busy day.
They'll be in 3 places at one time.
Well, there's 3 of us.
So then the options would be, we could move it to a different day if you wanted to continue to hold a meeting in May, or cancel.
How
the
many
next
items
meeting.
are on it?
3.
And they're all pre-approved already? Is there anything pressing that we're going to have to add to it? Not that we know of right now. Everything, okay. Then we could just cancel it.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So then we'll cancel the May salary board meetings. And then I do have some personnel and negotiation items to discuss in executive session.
Any questions for the solicitor? All right. Board of Commissioners reports? Floor is open.
Want to go?
Okay. The Southwest Planning Commission is going to be holding a long-range plan transportation meeting here at the courthouse, and that is going to be on the May 6th at from 4:30 to 6:30. Am I covering everything that you
stole my
have?
thunder.
That's why I'm going to go first. Okay.
Let me just interject, because I was at the meeting, SPC meeting.
Yeah.
It's called Smart Moves, and it's SPC's vision for the future. It's about connected mobility, resilient communities, and global competitive economy. And the first meeting, I think, starts at 3 o'clock, and then there's a public one that
From 4:30 to 6:30.
4:30 to 6:30. So this program will be discussed at that panel, participation panel.
And we're asking the public to come in and share their thoughts with this organization, because this is where the money stems from, to make those long-range plans. And they do have a press release, maybe we can get that out, and they do have a Facebook post that we can, yeah, so.
Time, date, location.
Yeah, the time is
6th.
4:30 to 6:30, May
Right.
6th, right here.
Good.
Okay. Spring is grant season. There is, the USDA is accepting for broadband, and I know that we've had a couple sessions that works at CCAP on that. And the ARP grants, more for infrastructure and long-range planning. That's where the municipalities can put in, and so far, only one municipality is going to be taking advantage of it. And it's kind of one of those things where, you know, all the communities need grant funding, but nobody's applying. So, you know, maybe Lance down in the planning office, you know, can assist with something like that. And maybe he needs to apply to one of these because we are looking at our long-range plan, our 10-year plan right now. I read it that EQT is looking for a new home base, and so I called the Pittsburgh Regional Alliance and I asked to be in contact with their real estate to tell them we want them in Beaver County. So we'll see how that goes. Farmers markets are now starting. Had the first one on Saturday. And Lance, Director of Planning, held a phase 2 quasi meeting to discuss what planning's idea on the phase 2, because we have that grant money sitting in there and it does need to be used by July, I think it was. Do you know if it was July?
We
Check on that?
I believe Ed's filed an extension.
Okay.
That is allowing us, otherwise we had to let them know by the end of
June. Yeah, so July.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was,
we had to let them know by then.
So he went over kind of his thoughts on the infrastructure and having GIS plan out what we have, where we have it, so that when organizations like we had with the casino come in and say, you know what, we want to build a casino, but what do you have in the ground? What's the infrastructure look like? So you know, that's one of the things that maybe our phase 2 can look at. So that was his idea. So that's all I have.
Is there an update on the casino? We've
I
been
haven't heard anything.
We haven't been contacted.
No, we've received no contact. Big Beaver, I don't think has received
They're
any
fine.
contact. They're still waiting to get their approval from the state.
There's 5 licenses, right, that have to be approved. Is that
yes.
correct?
5
Category
category 4.
4s, yeah. Yeah, and my
I don't
understanding,
believe
none of them have been voted on.
none of them
yet.
have been voted on. I still believe that they're waiting on. Our hearing was December 3rd. I still think there are some hearings that need to be done. So I don't know if that plays with anything.
Yeah, we don't know if they're waiting to do
I haven't had
all category
any
4s
contact.
approved at the same time or not, but haven't heard anything from them in months.
It's in Big Beaver's hands.
The down trees on the trails, are you able to?
Yes, a matter of fact, I think our guy started on this morning.
Oh, good, good. And the drains at Brush Creek Park, are they?
I apologize, Mother Nature's just not cooperating with us. It's such a soft, anytime we get any significant rain, it delays it even further. You know, we have to get equipment on there, skid steers and stuff. The skid steers weigh approximately 9,000 pounds. And when that's that floodplain. So it's still where it was.
Brady's Run Shelter Part 2 repairs.
The electricity has been disconnected from it. There are a couple minor spots that where the trees fell that were damaged, and our carpenter Justin Kislock, he's looked at it with me and he can fix that. We don't even have to go out and buy material. We have material left over from other things that have been done, and he can get on to that.
Good. Last thing I have is the Brighton Township stormwater fee. Where are we with that?
It's in transmittal right now to be paid.
Okay.
Yeah, we got the bills. We've spoken to them. They are applying this fee to everyone, government entities, the school, church groups, and the impression that was given is they're not going to be, we can try to meet with them if you want to, but in speaking with their manager, it doesn't appear that they would be willing to consider waiving the county's fee.
What was the controller's office just stopped me and asked me what it was because they'd never seen it before.
It's about $10,000.
There's four different
cars.
Yeah.
The main ones are Brady's Run. We have a little bit up where the magistrate building is located at. Do we want to try to I can try to set up a meeting if we want to.
I think we should at least talk.
I think so too. This sets a precedent for, because stormwater management, those MS4s are going to be hitting all of these communities. And once they start rolling out, we have property all over the place.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would hold it at this point.
We'll call the controller's office.
that's all I have.
All right. I have two things for executive session personnel matters. I don't know if it's any of the other ones anyone else has, but that's all I have. So, any other business?
That was for this weekend is History Weekend in Beaver County, so
Mhm.
if you're able to get out, all our museums will be open, so take advantage of that if you would. Everything's free, so, get out and about and soak up some history.
Thank you. Any other business? Audience participation. Hearing none. Any reason to reconvene after executive session? All right. Is there a motion to, we'll adjourn and go into executive session and not reconvene?